Miami, they are in the worst spot of any team in the NFL, and they do it to themselves every damn year because of the fake run midway through the season that lands you absolutely nowhere.
You understand you're on the hook for his salary next year. Pay it. It's okay. The last thing you want to do is be tied to him beyond next year. Russell Wilson, Denver Broncos side. Get rid of it. Be done with it.
Unfortunately, presented by Progressive Insurance. See why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive to stay protected on the road. See for yourself at Progressive.com. Made official yesterday by Miami. Tua to the bench. Quinn Ewers, their 7th-round pick. 231st overall out of Texas by way of Ohio State. Is now the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. Tua's $54 million has guaranteed in 2026. March 15th, he has a $3 million bonus for 2027 if he's on the roster. If they cut him right now or right after the season, $99 million in dead cap post June 1st would be $67.4 in 2026 and another $31.8 in 2027. A lot of numbers there for you, obviously. But in essence, if they either have a ton of it on the books for next year or maybe some of it on the books for the next 2 years, what led to Tua's decline in this decision yesterday? Mike McDaniel, head coach of the Miami Dolphins.
Playing quarterback and being a starting quarterback and then being a franchise quarterback, these are all things that are very complex. I think this is a player that his MO had been growth and just exceptional learner, and he's always evolving. There's compounding variables that you can't just pinpoint one or two things, and I don't. I still believe that his growth can continue, but I couldn't responsibly play this next game when I thought what the team needed was available and live in hope and wish and stuff.
DC, what's going on?
Well, the language around it makes it clear that the organization is done with it, and that's what we intimated yesterday. Why it was taking so long? Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins brass, ownership, I assume, wanted to make sure that if they were going to go down this road of sitting Tua Tagovailoa, then it was going to be done in terms of the Tua experience in South Beach. And so now the question becomes, how do they proceed? How do they move forward? But to me, based on everything that we heard, that this is not a situation where the organization is just trying to get a look at a young guy that may or may not factor in next year. This is more so about moving on, turning the page from a guy that they once thought would be their franchise quarterback for the next decade plus.
What was the language that tipped you off to them being done with him? There's a difference between benching someone and being done with someone. Benching also could mean we're going to ultimately work you back in the lineup. You just used the phrasing, they're done with him.
Yes. So when you question a player's commitment, when you question whether or not the locker room has conviction on that quarterback, giving them the best chance to win, that's a problem. And this is a quarterback in Tua that questioned the commitment, the conviction of all of his teammates at various points throughout this past calendar year. Remember, it happened in the offseason with Tyreek Hill. Happened again with Tyreek Hill on the eve of training camp. We got the reports that was not necessarily received well. In season, we got the reports of Tua, calling guys out for not showing up for film sessions that were player-led, and so on and so forth. So for the fact that we've had this reversal, this 180 when it comes to questioning the convictions of people around the quarterback, I think that's very telling in terms of the temperature in the organization for Tua continuing to be their guy.
So now what? What do they do? How do they find their way out of it?
Well, we had Adam Schefter on our show earlier this week, and he said it's going to be hard for the Dolphins to extricate themselves from this Tua contract. We all know the numbers, what it is. If they try to cut him, it's a $99 million dead cap hit, right? And you don't think that there's going to be a likely trade partner, because who wants to trade for a quarterback that's off injured and that leads the league in interceptions? And that's getting paid $54 million next year. Now, the Dolphins are on the hook for most of that money, so the acquiring team likely wouldn't have to pay it, but you understand the point.
Yeah.
And so I just think that it becomes really, really, really narrow in terms of the Dolphins' path to be able to proceed and to be able function forward. But I will say this. If the Miami Dolphins front office and ownership know what they're doing, it is far more likely that they trade Tua than cut Tua.
Explain.
Say that again. If the Dolphins front office and ownership know what they're doing, it is far more likely that they trade Tua than cut Tua. Here's why. You have a quarterback weak draft. Right now, if the draft were to start today, you have the 11th pick. The Miami Dolphins have 5 total picks in the first 2 days. Here's what you do. You convince a team to take Tua, and essentially, you pay them off with a draft pick. You go Brock Osweiler style with the Cleveland Browns and the Houston Texans. You go NBA player trade style in a salary dump. That's what you do. You pay a team troubles to take on Tua. Now, that acquiring team could do exactly what the Cleveland Browns did, which is cut Brock Osweiler before the start of the season. That's what you do. But that's how you extricate yourself from this situation. You pay off a team with a draft pick to get the salary off your books and to not absorb a $99 million dead cap. If you trade him, as opposed to cut him, you save about half of the dead cap hit. It goes from $99 million to $45 million, or give or take. So that's where you're at. That's the waters that you're swimming in. Now, here's why you do that as opposed to what the Denver Broncos did. The Denver Broncos knew that they were going to be picking in a quarterback-rich draft. They had the 12th pick. There were 6 quarterbacks that went in the first round that year. They got the 6th quarterback in Bo Nix. It's not going to be that type of quarterback draft. So you're not going to be able to have the most valuable commodity in the NFL, which is a quarterback on a rookie deal that you believe can be your franchise guy. This is going to be a scenario where the Miami Dolphins are going to have to slow roll it in terms of being able to dig themselves out of this hole and build back this roster and build back this team in order to compete in the AFC East. And I think the first step is getting Tua out of the building, and that's how you do it.
All right, I have a million follow-ups on that. You know that was a great teaser for me and everybody listening that loves the transactional stuff. Tua somewhere else, paying the team off to take him. We got to dive into that, what that means, what team could actually be in the mix, and where that goes for that team and for the Miami Dolphins. Tua to the bench, a big move yesterday. Adam Schefter called it a seismic move in Miami. We will continue that discussion coming up. We're on Sportsman, presented by Progressive Insurance.